Hello everyone and welcome to this new series of videos talking about Netweb. Today I will be showing you the very basics of Netweb. I will be using a network on 2.0.0.x range, and since I'm already connected to it, I will scan it to know what devices are in it. So I press the scan network button, and as you can see, the software starts the scanning. This is an ARP scan, just to let you know. Great, now it has finished and all the discovered devices appear in this list down here. I have two methods for adding a device to my scene. I can just simply double click on it, or I can right click anywhere in the list and add all the devices to the scene. Now I have all my devices in the scene. I can just scroll in or out of the scene to make my zoom bigger or smaller, and I can move anywhere in the scene. So I can now, for example, set these two devices here and these other two devices down here. Great. To keep my scene organized, I can also add frame groups. So I will add frame group using this button here, and as you can see, a new frame is added to the scene. Frame groups are used to organize my scene visually, so I can basically resize them using this square button here, and I can simply drag them on top of other devices, and as simply as that, my devices get trapped by the group frame. I will add another group frame, and I will simply use it to group my devices down here. I can also change the name of frames by double clicking anywhere in them. So I can just double click here and say this is my control, and double click anywhere here to change this to stage. I can also set the background colors, for example, for these frames, so I can use this background button to set a color. I could also use images as background, but I will just use colors for this demonstration. Great, now I have my two frames with colors and titles. Same way I have changed the frame titles, I can double click anywhere in the devices to change their names. So I can basically double click here, for example, and say this is the console, this is the switch 1, this is switch 2, and this will be a node for the demonstration. Great, now I have all my devices set. Since these two devices are switches, I will add more ports to them. So I have this ports button that I can use to add more ports to them. In this case I will be adding 24 ports, and in this case I will be adding 10 ports. Once I have all my devices set, I can just start making connections. So I can use this port here to connect with this other port, and as you can see, a new connection has been added. I can do exactly the same here, so I will create another connection. Now I will be creating connections between switches, so I will be just dragging and dropping from port to port, and I have my connections between switches done. I'd like these two connections here to be trunk connections and to visualize them differently. So as you can see in the right part of the software, you have the connection types. We have two default connection types which we cannot delete. We can actually change them, but we cannot delete them. The monitor connections, which we will see in a while, and then we have the default connection type that these connections are actually using. We can change the name, we can change the color and everything, but these two connections are created by default and we cannot delete them. If I wanted to add another connection type, I could use this button here, and if I scroll down, a new connection type has been added. So I can change here the name and, for example, say this is trunk connection. I can set a color, so I will be using yellow. I can change the dash type, so I can see dashes here, for example. And for actual documentation later on, I can say this is fiber connection, so I can display this when printing my documentation. Now I can change these connection types to the trunk just by hovering over them and selecting trunk connection type. And as you can see, this connection has now turned into this trunk connection type. I will do exactly the same for the second one. And as you can see, any changes that I do here, so for example, if I turn this more orange, will apply in the already created connections. Great, now I have my connections created and well displayed. To make my scene even more clearly, I can add path points to the connections. So if I hover over a connection, for example this one, I can right click on it, and now a new path point has been added. I can move this path point to wherever I want, and as you can see, the connection will now follow it. Another way of adding a path point is just by hovering it and clicking on it and adding a path point. Same way, I can move this path point to wherever I want. I will do the same here, so I can just right click on it and move it. If I wanted to delete this path point, for example, I could double click on it and the path point is now deleted. I will just add two of them to set them as I want. If I, for example, wanted to see more clearly how the connections are actually done here, I could use these arrows up and down to move the Z value of the devices in the scene. So I can use the frame arrows, since these devices are within a frame, to move all the devices in here below the connections. And as you can see, I can now clearly see that these connections are to port 1 and these other two connections are to port 23 and 24. Another thing I wanted to show you are monitor consoles. So I can add a new monitor console here by just pressing the button, and as you can see, if I zoom a little bit out, a new monitor console has been added. So I can just move it here and I can resize it. These monitor consoles allow me to see what protocols the connected device is sending. So I can connect this monitor console from the monitor port to any monitor port in any device in my scene. As you can see, I can now see the protocols that this device is sending. If I, for example, connect this switch to the monitor, I can see now the protocols of the switch. Same here. I will leave it to the console right now, and as you can see, these protocols are updated every time a new scan is performed. So the monitor sniffs packets during a timeout period, so I can change here my sniffing time, and I can automate this process using the autoscan function. Autoscan basically will perform a new scan every an interval of seconds specified in this text box. So I can, for example, say I want to autoscan the network every 2 seconds, and when I autoscan, it will sniff packets during 1 second, and it will do this process every 2 seconds. So I can now start an autoscan, and as you will see here, every 2 seconds a new scan is performed. Great, so now a new scan is finished, and as you can see, the protocols have been updated. You can also see that all devices in my network have gone green, indicating that they are online. If I, for example, disconnect my console from the network, you will see that it will go red. Great, as you can see now, the console has gone red, indicating that it is no longer active in the network. So if I, for example, reconnect it and scan the network again, you will see that when the scan is finished, it has gone green again. Great, now all my devices are back up. Last thing I wanted to show you for this video is how easy it is to configure all my devices in the network by using their web GUIs. So in this case, for example, I have these 2 switches that I can easily configure them using their GUIs. I can open each switch GUI using this button here. So as you can see, the GUI for this switch has now opened down below, and I can also open this other switch GUI. Now I have 2 tabs open, and I can simply just switch them, or I can easily switch them by selecting the device that I want to configure. This way I get no mistakes done when configuring same type of devices. I can enter my password here, and I can just start configuring my switch. If I wanted to, I could also make this part bigger, and I could simply use this GUI to configure my switch. I will make this smaller again, and I could do the same here. So I can set my password and start navigating the switch here. As you can see, the tab that I'm currently using have the device in question with this open GUI in an orange color. This is used to track the last device configured and to track the tab open. So if I change tabs, I always get the device that I'm configuring. So I'm not confused by which device I am configuring right now. I think that's all. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.